This episode is brought to you in part by Halton Food Service.
Hi, I'm Ken Schwartz, professional member of FCSI and CEO and president of SSA, a food service design and consulting firm. We were actually referred to the Mina Group, so we flew down to Miami and met with the Mina Group and talked about the project a little bit. And since that time, I don't think there's ever been a moment when we haven't been working on something together. We actually had a design review meeting on site at the old 49ers Stadium, along with the Mina Group and ownership and the rest of the design team.
My name is Paul Epstein, Director of Sales and Business Development here for the 49ers and Levi Stadium. And my role of responsibilities is essentially to oversee all revenue outside of corporate partnerships, including tickets, suites, non-game day revenue from private events, his five-star restaurant here in Michael Mina's Bourbon Steak and Bourbon Pub, stadium tours, our museum program, all in an effort to drive revenue to the 49ers and Levi Stadium. So for context, Michael is the hugest 49ers fan that we know. He was a 23-year season ticket holder at the time that this concept even came up for discussion.
Hi, my name is Michael Mina. I am the chef and founder of Mina Group. Really the reason I moved to San Francisco is because I was a diehard 49er fan.
He's just essentially married his passions. He loves food, he loves the culinary art, he loves his 49ers, having players and executives and team officials around him. It gets him as juiced up as anybody here.
And the stadium was being built. I was given the opportunity to put my own restaurant in, and I said the one thing I want to make sure we have, if we are going to put in a restaurant, is I want to make sure we have a tailgate party. I had always been, that chef that, was over creative, right? And all my team would be like, well, we can't do this, we can't do that, it can't be done. Ken was great because Ken is the guy that always tells me, oh, we can get it done, we can get it done.
While I was in the conference room at the Mina Group, I actually started hand sketching this idea for this two-sided kind of two-story rotisserie. And Michael came back in to meet with me, and I just showed him kind of my colored hand sketch of what this thing could become. And he immediately fell in love with the idea and the concept and wanted us to carry the design further into something that we could then present to the 49ers.
I pitched it and they said, let's do it. Let's just embrace it and let's do the ultimate tailgate.
So the guest experience vision for the Michael Mina tailgate experience was really to bring the kind of parking lot tailgating experience that you would experience at any football stadium, kind of pre-game, post-game, into a physical building that happened to be the 49ers Stadium.
In the tailgate space, you look up, you see streetlights. You look down, you see, very similar to what you would envision a parking lot environment to be, you see the stripes of parking stalls to give you that true, authentic look and feel. You hover right above that tailgate space, and very similar to Bourbon Street in the true New Orleanian flair, kind of Mardi Gras-esque, you have luxury lofts and you look out over the tailgate in a super social, super fun environment. And that was where tailgate was birthed.
I want to stick to those core three cooking elements, and one of them was a rotisserie. So every game we would put something on the rotisserie and slow roast it, and that would be the last thing that we ate. So we built this rotisserie that holds here an 1,100-pound animal, so we can roast whole cows on our rotisserie. Then it was always about a big pot, and that big pot would have anything from a cioppino in it to a gumbo in it to poaching lobsters in it. And then it was about wood-fire grilling. And so we'd always have, wood grills or charcoal grills, and we would grill throughout the day. And so we built these two big fire pits here and a wood-burning oven. And so we always take the cuisine and start there and say, how are we gonna work around that equipment?
Then the responsibility was on us to figure out what this thing would really become, how to make it work, how it would actually function.
So the equipment that we built was very special and unique because it's all custom.
But the most ironic piece about this piece of equipment is it's strictly gas fired. So we did away with all of that solid fuel burning equipment, and we did away with the ripple effect of all of those additional hoods and scrubbers required for those original charcoal grills. And we're able to actually build this iconic piece, but still save the project about $280,000. In addition to the rotisserie, we were looking to develop these kind of multi-purpose, very flexible stations that would work both during event days as well as a la carte days for the restaurants. And one of these stations, which have become known as these big seafood boiling stations, but the seafood boiling stations is actually designed almost like a club on a playing card. It's actually a counter made out of 3 circles, and within each of these 3 circles we have 4 hob induction ranges, and these induction ranges actually become 12 burners on a la carte days when they're cooking. But on event days, each of these 4 burner ranges becomes the heating element for these very large 48-inch by 18-inch deep boiling pots that we had custom fabricated for the Mina group, where they can boil shrimp or lobster or crab legs, etc., in bulk. Probably one of the largest challenges associated with display cooking and/or open kitchen is control and handling of ventilation. And it starts with the exhaust system, but it materially impacts air conditioning and heating systems.
The hooding that we had to create so that we could burn wood as well as do traditional gas cooking and everything else is a really advanced system.
One company that we depend on the most when it comes to demand air technology is Halton. Halton has been a leader in research and development of this technology. They're a leader in research and technology relative to the components that allow these systems to work. The systems that have been developed by Halton actually allow their systems to exhaust at a much lower CFM than any of their competitors out on the market. And the most important aspect of being able to exhaust at a much lower CFM is it then dictates to the amount of makeup air that must come into the building, and then the cost of how that makeup air is treated. So the simple equation is the least amount of exhaust coming out of the building equates to the least amount of makeup air having to come into the building, which further equates to the least amount of treatment of makeup air, which materially impacts not only operating costs, but original capital investment by the client. The demand air system that Halton has created that continues to evolve is known as their Marvell system.
When you start getting into building custom equipment, in this day and age now, there's so much technology that goes behind it that you really can create, equipment that is one of a kind.
The brilliance of Marvell is that the Marvell system is really monitoring what's happening along the cooking equipment. The hood system senses the heat that's coming from that piece of equipment. It opens and closes dampers along that hood system to start to exhaust only where the cooking equipment is on, and only where cooking equipment is actually starting to produce grease-laden vapor. Has a huge savings factor associated for the client long term. It also then equates to a much better and much more comfortable environment, not only for the guests in a display cooking environment, but it has significant impact in the working environment. And I think the technology of the Halton Marvell system really speaks to the well-being of the staff working in the kitchen.
To say that it's around the clock business would be an understatement. They absolutely work their tails off. That said, they love what they do. They love being here. They don't feel like it's work on these 10 days out of the year, because you could tell that Michael has folks from his portfolio restaurants coming from around the country, from nearby in San Francisco, and they just want to be here to take in the fun, take in the excitement, put their gloves on and just go to work.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
And I think we just did it right. We really got it right. It's memberships as well as individual game day people. So there's always this great mix of people that you know and new people that you meet. And really, at the end of the day, everything that I would say makes up a great tailgate. And that's the absolute best fans, the best people, the best members, then this unbelievable equipment that we get to cook on, and then this facility in which we can throw this party and we really have no limitations.
It truly does feel like the chefs are putting on a show for you. The guys playing football on the TV screens are putting on a show for you. The celebrities walking in, they're putting on a show for you. So it really does feel like theater in preparation for what that game day experience is.
I think the success of it speaks for itself, and we were incredibly pleased and honored to be part of bringing those ideas to a reality that really helped Michael and his group convey their brand.